Today I'm going to be doing a record bias oscillator adjustment and erase current check of a Sharp GF9797 stereo cassette recorder boombox. Of course, the oscillator, the bias oscillator, that produces a high frequency signal, and that's mixed with the audio signal when you record. You have to have that. It has to be set up right, because if it's too little, you're going to have problems, and if it's too much, you're going to have problems too. And this oscillator is used for both the record, and it's also used for the erase. Oh, and I might add, it's the oscillator puts out a high frequency. It's normally like in the tens of thousands of hertz. I think on this particular model it's like 80,000 or somewhere around there. I have the service manual and it says 86,000 hertz or 86 kilohertz. So for the bias oscillator adjustment, basically all I need is my AC voltmeter, some test leads, and my AC voltmeters. There's a test point back here, right back there where my finger's at. I think it's called test point 503. Let me look again in the service manual. It's supposed to be test point 501 or 502, and that's where I'm going to go ahead and put the red lead of the voltmeter, and the other end just going to have it grounded out. And then I'm supposed to set the tape selector switch to normal position. I got a place to set and record, and I put the beat cancellation switch in the A position. And what I'm going to have to do is adjust the bias step up coil so that the voltmeter reads about 52 millivolts or 0.052 millivolts. And then I have to hit the tape selector switch, put that in the metal position, and then make sure the meter reads about 95 millivolts plus or minus 6 millivolts. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. So here's the coils that I'm supposed to adjust, and I'm going to go ahead and do this adjustment twice, one on one side and one on the other side. So the voltmeter needs to be hooked up to one test point one time and then to the other test point another time. Since what I always do before I make any adjustments, I go ahead and take a felt pen and I make little marks so I always know what the original position was. So now I'm taking my first reading. I have the tape selector switch in the normal position, and I've got about 52 millivolts, which is what it's supposed to be. And now I'm supposed to put the tape selector switch in the metal position, and then it's supposed to be 95 millivolts plus or minus 6 millivolts, and it's about 84 millivolts. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can adjust it. Well, not really. I'm going to leave it at that. It's a little bit low, but I'm not going to go ahead and really get down into the guts of this unit, since it's not worth the time really. So I went ahead and hit the other test point, and I was able to get the voltmeter to read about close to 80 millivolts. Still a little bit low, but as I said, I'm going to go ahead and leave things as they are. So now I'm on to the erase current check. Here's a coil for the frequency adjustment, and there's a 1 ohm resistor here. I think it's R599. Supposed to put the voltmeter across that, and then I'm supposed to read between 50 and 70 milliamperes. Let's see what I got here. It's about 60, so that's basically good to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the recorder in the metal position, and I think it's supposed to be 110 to 130 milli needles pigging out. So what have we got here? Got 100, and it's about 100, and I keep slipping here. It's about 120 millivolts. So that's within the normal range, because it says here it's supposed to be between 110 and 130. And here's the actual sine wave at that resistor. And as a final check, I have my frequency counter hooked up to that same resistor, R599, and the oscillator frequency is supposed to be 86 kilohertz plus or minus 3 kilohertz. And if that would be out of range, then I would have had adjusted the coil next to that, L503, but it's 84.55, which is within the specifications. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it as it is.